Welcome to Listen and Learn English, where you can improve your English at your own pace. Our narrators are all native English speakers, and their words are displayed so that you can read along and practice your English vocabulary. It's a great way to learn, so sit back, relax, and let's get into the video. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 7. The Journey to the Great Oz. The small group of travellers had walked for miles that day, following the twisting yellow brick road. As evening came, the light in the forest dimmed, and they realized there was no village, farmhouse, or even a cottage where they might find shelter. They were obliged, therefore, to spend the night outdoors once again. Fortunately, they discovered a great tree with thick branches spreading wide like a roof, and beneath it the ground was soft with fallen leaves. "This'll serve us well enough," Dorothy said, trying to sound cheerful, though she felt weary and a little lonesome. The Tin Woodman, who never grew tired, quickly set to work. With a strong sweep of his shining axe, he chopped a generous pile of logs. Sparks flew with each stroke, and the sound echoed deep in the forest, like the beating of a drum. Dorothy arranged the wood carefully, and soon she had built a crackling fire. Its golden flames cast a warm circle of light around them, chasing away the shadows that crept between the trees. The warmth comforted her heart, and the brightness made her feel a little less alone in this vast wilderness. She and Toto shared the last of their bread for supper. Dorothy gave Toto the smaller piece, but the little dog wagged his tail and seemed content.
Yet the girl's face grew thoughtful as she looked at the empty basket.
"I don't know what we shall do for breakfast tomorrow," she murmured softly. "If you wish," said the Cowardly Lion, who was lying stretched out before the fire with his great paws folded, "I can hunt for us. There must be deer in this forest. I will bring one down, and you may roast the meat over the fire. I understand that you humans prefer your food cooked, peculiar though that seems to me." Dorothy's eyes widened, but before she could answer, the Tin Woodman raised his gleaming hand. "Please don't," he said earnestly. "If you kill a poor innocent deer, I shall certainly weep.
And if I begin to cry, my tears will rust my jaws until I cannot move them again."
His voice trembled with true sorrow at the thought of such a thing. Dorothy, who had grown fond of his tender heart, nodded gratefully. The lion, understanding their feelings, did not argue. Instead, without another word, he rose and padded away into the darkness of the forest. None of them knew what he found to eat, for when he returned later, he wouldn't reveal a word. Meanwhile, the Scarecrow had gone exploring among the trees. He discovered a tall oak laden with nuts, and though his padded hands were clumsy, he did his best to gather them. Each time he tried to pick one up, he dropped two others, and he muttered in annoyance at his awkwardness. Still, with patience, he managed to fill Dorothy's basket. When he brought it back, Dorothy's eyes shone with relief. "Why, that will keep me from being hungry for a long time," she said warmly. "Thank you, my friend." The Scarecrow laughed at himself. "I fear I made a poor show of it. My fingers are too soft and the nuts too small, but I thought you might need them more than I do. Besides, gathering them kept me at a safe distance from the fire. A spark in my straw would be the end of me." Dorothy chuckled at his honesty. After the fire burned lower, she lay down upon a bed of dry leaves the Scarecrow spread for her. They were crisp and warm, covering her gently like a blanket. With Toto curled against her side, she soon fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. The night passed without trouble, and when daylight filtered through the branches, Dorothy bathed her face in a sparkling brook that ran close by. Feeling refreshed, she and her companions set off once more toward the Emerald City, their spirits lifted by the thought that soon they might meet the great Oz himself.
The road wound steadily onward through the dense forest. The bright yellow bricks gleamed faintly under the shade of the tall trees. After they had walked for about an hour, they came suddenly upon a great gulf cutting directly across their path.
It was an astonishing sight. The ditch stretched so far to the left and right they could not see the end of it. Its sides were steep and crumbling, and the bottom was filled with jagged rocks sharp as knives. The gulf was also very deep, so deep that a stone dropped into it would clatter against the rocks for a long moment before finally resting below. Dorothy clasped her hands together. "What shall we do?" she asked in dismay.
The Tin Woodman looked down with a blank expression. "I have not the faintest idea," he said honestly.
The Lion shook his heavy mane and sighed, while the Scarecrow studied the chasm thoughtfully. "We cannot fly, that is certain," he said at last. "Neither can we climb down, for the rocks would tear us to pieces. Therefore, unless we can leap across, our journey ends here." The Cowardly Lion paced back and forth, measuring the distance with his eyes. Finally he sat down and said, "I think I might leap across. My legs are strong, and the gulf, though wide, may not be beyond me." "Then all is well," cried the Scarecrow, brightening. "You shall carry us one by one upon your back." The Lion hesitated. "I'm terribly afraid of falling," he confessed, "but there seems no other choice. Who will go first?" "I shall," said the Scarecrow bravely. "If you fall, I will not be harmed by the fall, being stuffed only with straw. But if Dorothy were first, she might be killed, or if the Woodman, he would be badly dented. So let it be me." The Lion crouched at the edge, trembling slightly. The Scarecrow climbed upon his back, clutching the thick mane. With a mighty spring, the Lion shot through the air. For an instant, it seemed they might fall short, but his powerful legs carried them safely to the far side. A cheer rose from the others. The Lion trotted back again, more confident now. Dorothy went next, holding Toto tight in her arms and grasping the mane with a free hand. The air rushed past her face as they soared, and before she could cry out, they landed safely. The Tin Woodman followed, and at last all were reunited beyond the gulf. The Lion lay panting, his breath coming in heavy gasps like a dog that has run too far. They let him rest, grateful for his courage. The forest grew darker as they pressed onward. The branches closed overhead, shutting out the sun. Strange cries echoed in the distance, chilling Dorothy's heart. The Lion lowered his voice. "This is the land of the Killadders." "What are the Killadders?" Dorothy asked nervously. "They are monstrous beasts," said the Lion. "They have the bodies of bears, but the heads of tigers, and claws so sharp they could tear even me to pieces. I confess I'm terribly afraid of them." Dorothy shivered. No wonder. They must be dreadful indeed. As if the forest wished to prove the Lion's words, they soon came to another gulf, far wider than the first. At a glance, the Lion knew he could not leap it. They gathered together, troubled. The Scarecrow pointed to a tall tree near the edge. "If the Woodman chops it down, it may fall across the gulf and form a bridge." "A clever thought," said the Lion. "One would think you had brains after all." The Woodman at once lifted his axe and struck the tree. The steel rang out, and chips flew in every direction. Soon the trunk was nearly cut through. Then the Lion placed his strong forelegs against it and pushed. With a great groan, the tree swayed, toppled and fell across the gulf. Its branches tangled on the far side, forming a strange but useful bridge. They were just beginning to cross when a terrible growl froze them in their tracks. From the shadows bounded two monstrous shapes, Killadders. Their eyes gleamed, their tiger heads snarled, and their claws dug into the earth as they rushed forward. "The Killadders!" cried the Lion, quaking. "Quick, cross the bridge!" shouted the Scarecrow. Dorothy, clutching Toto, hurried across. The Woodman followed, then the Scarecrow himself. The Lion lingered, his heart pounding. Then he roared so fiercely that the forest shook. Dorothy screamed. The Scarecrow tumbled backward in fright, and even the Killadders stopped short. But only for a moment, realizing their strength, and seeing that there were two of them against one, they bounded onto the tree. "We are lost," gasped the Lion. "They will surely destroy us." "Not yet," cried the Scarecrow. He urged the Woodman to chop away the end of the tree on their side. The Woodman swung his axe with speed and skill. Just as the Killadders reached the middle, the tree cracked and fell with a mighty crash, plunging the beasts into the gulf below. The rock shattered their bodies, and the forest was silent once more. The lion drew a long, shuddering breath. "I'm glad we are alive," he said gravely, "for it must be a very unpleasant thing not to be alive. My heart still beats with fear." "I only wish I had a heart that could beat," sighed the woodman sadly. After this narrow escape, they pressed on more eagerly than before, longing to be free of the gloomy forest. Dorothy soon grew weary and rode upon the lion's back. At last, to their joy, the trees thinned and sunlight poured through. By afternoon, they stood upon the bank of a wide river. Across the sparkling water lay a fair country, bright with meadows and orchards. The yellow brick road could be seen running straight through it, bordered by flowering trees heavy with delicious fruit. The sight filled their hearts with hope. "How shall we cross?" Dorothy asked. "That is easily solved," said the Scarecrow. "The woodman will build us a raft." The Tin Woodman, tireless as always, began chopping down small trees. He worked steadily, fitting the logs together. While he labored, the Scarecrow found a tree heavy with ripe fruit. Dorothy ate gratefully, for she had lived on little but nuts since the day before. But the work was long, and by nightfall the raft was not complete. So they made camp once more beneath the trees. Dorothy lay down, her thoughts filled with dreams of the Emerald City, and the great wizard who would soon send us safely home again. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please support us by giving us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We release new videos just like this one each week, so join us and listen to learn English.